In a short while, we shall be going to our first topic on the program, which is the ongoing crisis in the Rivers State chapter of the All Progressives Congress. But first, let's take a look at what the Minister of Transportation and the former governor of the state, Rotimi Amechi, told Arise News about the subject matter.
First, Rivers State has gone down so badly. That's what my lecturer, when I was in school, used to call abysmal failure. So badly that it doesn't look like the state I left how many years ago. I've not been to Port Harcourt since, when last was I in Port Harcourt? Maybe January, I can't remember. When was the last election?
The last election was last year, in 2019.
Okay, so since then I've not been to Port Harcourt. And I don't know what, I don't believe that that's the right process. I believe that no matter how angry you are, no matter how much the institutions are manipulated, let me tell you what a judge said. The judge said, I'm allowed to be wrong, that's why there's a court of appeal. That's why there's a Supreme Court. So if you think that what is happening with the state judiciary is wrong, then you go to court of appeal, then you go to the Supreme Court. Ensure you exhaust the due process. However, what you see there is frustration, where people just sit down and churn out orders from here and there. You wake up, nobody has been served, you hear orders. But despite that frustration, nobody has the right to take the laws into their hands. First, if you say you're my supporter, you know that I don't like anything. I don't respect the law, I fear the law. Because actually, breaking the law can put you in jail. And like I said, for the past 3 years, I've not spoken. I've been quite out of the public scene because my desire is to focus on development. My desire is to ensure that by the time I leave the office, my children, my supporters, my friends will be proud of my achievement with the support of the president. So I don't engage in politics. For now, I'm not a politician. What's happening in APC, I don't know. What is happening in Rivers State, I don't know. And believe me, I don't want to know. So I don't go there asking that question.
Minister, you're putting a caveat.
I get that caveat before I accepted the interview.
Yes, very well, very well. We're just going to take it because all Nigerians are worried.
About what?
The number 3 citizen of the country, for example, Ahmed Lawan, the president of the Senate, when he visited the president and he granted an interview and said, look, whatever happens to APC affects not just the government, but the entire fabrics of the nation. APC is a ruling party. You are one of the leaders of APC.
Me.
In Rivers State, you are the leader. I
have no number. It's thank God you called number 3.
Yes,
I don't have a number.
I know.
Numberless.
You've played a critical role in the party.
That's history.
Yeah, that brought Mr. President for his first and second term.
That is history. It's for the children to study it and go to school.
You cannot extricate yourself from the crisis in the party at the national level and in some states.
I have done that. What I have done is to keep away completely. Nobody will hear my voice.
You are not bothered about it?
No, even if I'm bothered, it's internally.
You're not preferring advice on how this is going to be solved?
Adults, there's nobody there who is a child. Everybody who is involved there is an adult. I don't want to get involved in politics. I don't want to be a politician. I want to, Nigerians know me for being blunt and honest. Some see it as arrogant, some see it as brash, some see it as useless, whatever it is.
But you're swallowing your tongue right now.
No.
Nigerians will want to see the length.
Just let me repeat what I tell people. What do I need to say that I've not said before? Name one.
Maybe you've not.
One thing that, you see.
You've not talked about this crisis.
It's not new. It's internal dynamics of politics. It's power struggle. So I have said it several times. When we fought in 2015, I said this country cannot continue the way it is going. I've said that several times. What new? It's like when I went to Professor Wole Soyinka and I said, look, we need to lead a protest about what is happening in the country. He said, my friend, I'm 80. That time he was 80. I can't be in the front. Because you see, it gets to a point where you know that you've contributed, just like Professor Wole Soyinka has contributed to the growth of the country. And if the country is not moving forward, what do? You want to die there?
You just put your hands akimbo?
You don't look. I'm not helpless, but I'm sitting and I'm looking.
That's the great saying of late Justice Minister Bola.
Don't look. Because you see, if I come out, I told you before here, I said, this is not the state we left. This is not the state Okilo governed. This is not the state Spiff governed. This is not the state Spiff governed. This is not the state Rufus Ada George governed. It's not the state. So what do you want me to talk about?
So things have really gone awry, even in your own state and at the national level in your party.
I don't know what you're talking about because I don't want to get involved. I don't know what is the reason for the crisis. I don't know why the crisis is existing. First and foremost is, what happens in politics that in Nigerian politics, you hardly have opposition. When people are hungry, they catch the next government. You can hardly have opposition in Nigeria.
But you were in the opposition party before you became the ruling party.
I've never been an opposition man. I was speaker, I was governor. From governor, I became minister. I never entered into any position.
Okay. Let's leave politics, aside because you're not really willing to say much about it.
My publicists will be so shocked to even hear I made this comment. The only reason why I responded to this comment by this young man, I think they're all my supporters. Both those who made the comment and those who countered them are all my supporters. But I think the other reason is to tell everybody who is supporting me to please remain calm and get out of violence. Never be part of violence, because I will not defend anybody when you get violent. The law will take its course. Whatever is happening, if anything goes wrong in the High Court, you go to the Court of Appeal. If anything goes wrong in the Court of Appeal, you go to the Supreme Court. But don't you ever take the laws in their hands. Just like my children will not do that. My children know, all my kids know that. Listen, my brothers also know that I'm not a man who will come out to subvert the law. So I will not come and help you if you're my brother or my son and you take the law into their hand. I feel the pain they feel. I honestly feel the pain that the first set feel. But it will handle differently.
What's really this pain? What's the pain, really?
You see, there's crisis now. I feel the pain. Everybody wants to see that there's a smooth party, everything is going well, and we're planning what happens in 2023. We're not even planning anything. So, anybody who is a member of APC, when I say the pain they feel, anybody who is a member of APC must feel pain that there is a crisis in APC. Whatever is the reason for the crisis, I have no idea, believe me.
That was Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, talking to our Rights General Editor, Christian Ogoni, and for a different view on events in Rivers State, as well as the worsening leadership crisis enveloping the All Progressives Congress, the ruling party in Nigeria. We're now being joined by Senator Magnus Abe, the chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, whose name is also being mentioned in respect of what's been going on in Rivers State. Welcome to the program, Senator Magnus Abe, and thank you very much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm sure you listened to your former boss, Rotimi Amechi, saying that things have gone really bad in Rivers State, and he says he's Sidonin looking. Whatever that means. But what's your take on the situation in Rivers State? Have things really gone bad? Is there a regime of frustration in the place? And what's your take on some of the comments he made about the All Progressives Congress, your party, which seems to be clearly in disarray?
I couldn't hear part of what you were saying. Can you come again with the question? Because the audio had issues.
No, before we came to you, we played an interview with Rotimi Amechi, the Minister of Transportation, former governor of Rivers State, which he had with our General Editor, Christian Ogoni. And in it, he said, look, things have gone really bad in Rivers State, but that he is just staying aloof. He doesn't want to get involved in the politics of Rivers State or the All Progressives Congress. And I asked you, what is your take on those points? Are things really bad in Rivers State in terms of governance? And what do you think of the crisis in the ruling party, your party, which seems to be clearly in disarray?
Thank you. I will start with the issue of the party, the crisis in the party here at the national level. To say that I don't think that the problems are as big as they are being played out. We don't have a constitutional crisis in the All Progressives Congress. What we have is a political crisis. and every political challenge needs a political solution. And my own fear is that the NEC may not actually be the best place to arrive at a political solution to the challenges in the All Progressives Congress. Contrary to what people are saying, everybody in the party knows who the key actors in these problems are, and some of them may not even be members of NEC. I would think that if we have a situation where the president meets with some of his people and talks to them to allow for peace to reign so that we can face the main challenges facing the country. We have challenges of security. We have the coronavirus pandemic, which has both health and economic implications for the country. We have the crash in crude oil prices, which is a major contributor to the present economic challenges that the country is facing. All this deserves the president's 100% attention. We have elections coming up in Ondo and Edo, for which we are responsible, not just as a government, but we also have an obligation as a political party to take part in those elections. So I think that the president's plate at this time is really full, and adding this quote and unquote crisis in the ruling party to the mix is totally unfair to the country and unfair to the president. So my take on that would be that we should look for a way to design a political solution to the challenges in the APC. I don't think that, I don't want to go into legalese to argue one way or the other about who is right and who is wrong and what the law says and what the law doesn't say, but just to appeal to the key actors. And we all know who they are. Even when they say they are not involved in politics, they don't know what is happening and all that. Everybody knows within the political circle, knows those that you can talk to bring some peace and stability to the party. And I think that needs to be done urgently so that we can focus on the main issues that are facing the country.
Yeah, but the other leg of the question, have things gone really bad in Rivers State, your state?
If you looked at the videos that you yourself played of people coming out to say they will burn the state down, they will kill me, they will do this, they will do that, that is, of course, a signal that the state is not where it should be, because before now, nobody would have had the guts to make that kind of video about Rivers State. So that is itself a signal that things are bad. But that is also a signal that the things that are wrong are coming from several factors and several kinds of behavior. For me, what I would like to say about that is to, in as much as I don't want to join issues with the Honorable Minister, is to appeal to him. He should do more than says he knows the people. We know that he knows them. The young man, Innocent Wogu, who was threatening to kill me and burn the state, and is his cousin. He's from his village. He used to be his mother's PA. His name is Innocent Wogu. So he should go beyond saying that he understands their pain. These are people who have threatened to kill me and burn the state and all that. He should hand him over to the law enforcement agencies or assist them to apprehend him and bring him to book. That's how we can make Rivers State better. But if we sit down and we allow people to behave in a manner that gives the impression that the entire state is lawless, and people, and you heard the boy say at the end of the video that nothing will happen. And he has a reason for saying that. The other time we had a crisis in the All Progressives Congress, some people went to court. It was members of the APC who came to the court, blockaded the court, and the violence that happened at the Rivers State High Court was visible to the entire country. When we opened our office of the party at Waterlines, which is the busiest part of Port Harcourt, in the same All Progressives Congress, people came there and were shooting guns, throwing bombs for over 2 hours. Nothing happened. The police did not even respond. So I think that if we really want to show that we want Rivers State to be better, we have every opportunity to get people to behave in a manner that contributes to the state being better. And that video by Innocent Wogu is an example of where the state has come to. And us taking action against things like that will also be an example of the fact that we want Rivers State to be the way it was when Okilo was governor and when Rufus George was governor. We can start by being proactive in matters like this.
Thank you, sir. Is the onus on the relatives of anybody making threats to life and property, is the onus on them?
Sorry, the audio is not too good. I can't
I'll start again, sir.
Exactly.
Is the onus on the relatives of anybody threatening a life or threatening property, is the onus on the relatives to report to the authorities, or is the onus on you, the target of said threats to life? That's my first question. My second question is that it's interesting that you, as a lawyer, say that political problems require political solutions. Obviously, court orders will never be irrelevant. You can't dismiss them. But is that an implicit criticism of the president? Because the position he has taken, he is saying that he got convincing legal opinion. So are you saying that he's taking the wrong approach, that he should have sought a political approach?
The audio is not doing well.
Oh, dear.
Hello?
Can you hear us, sir?
Hello, Magnus. Maybe you...
I couldn't hear you. No, I can hear you now. You can repeat the question.
Okay, I asked you two questions. First of all, is the onus on the relatives of a person making threats to life and property, is the onus on those relatives to report to the authorities, or is the onus on the target of those threats? Should you not be the one to report to the authorities is what I'm asking. That's the first question. The second question is that even though you are a lawyer, you said political problems require political solutions. Is that an implicit criticism of the president's approach? Because he is relying on what he has termed as a convincing legal argument. Should he have taken a political approach instead of a legal approach?
Well, I think both questions, to my mind, are self-evident. If a relative of a criminal comes on national television to say he knows him and he understands him, and at the same time he's condemning what the person is doing, I think there is nothing wrong with any law-abiding citizen taking this a step further to help the law enforcement agencies to bring such persons to book. That's what is expected of every citizen. So if you have come out to volunteer that much information, it would be appropriate for you to go the full hog. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with any relative who sees his relative committing or threatening to commit mayhem on the country, and he says he knows the person and he understands the person. I don't think there's anything wrong with going the full hog to assist the law enforcement agencies to see that that kind of act does not take place in this country. So that is my view. Secondly, I'm a lawyer, I'm a politician. If I urge the party to look for a political solution to problems in the party, that is not a criticism of a president. The president is a politician, and like any sensible person will understand the kind of yesterday, for example, the PDP, who are our opponents in the Edo election, they went to court and they stood their matter down, arrived at a political solution, withdrew their case, and went to Benin this morning. They are peacefully conducting their primaries. So if anybody had advised them to seek a political solution instead of fighting in the court and going all the way to the Supreme Court, will that person be a friend or an enemy? So in the kind of crisis we have in the APC, where you have court orders from Rivers, you have court orders from Plateau, you have court orders from the FCT, you have court orders from Kano and all sorts of things, if somebody advises the party at this point that it is best that we seek a political solution, I will think that person is a very good friend of the president, a very strong supporter of the president, who understands that the president does not need these legal distractions at this time. We have too many serious things to worry about in this country now. The president's plate is full. So if we continue the legal way and then all these cases are going on appeal, new cases are being filed and all that, are we going to get out of where we are? So the practical and sensible thing for us to do as a political party is to call everybody together, look for a political solution to our challenges, and allow the president to focus on the governance of the country while politics can take a backseat pending when it is time for the political rat race to accelerate. To do so at this time, whether through the courts or by any other means, is a disservice to the country, and that is my position. That makes me a strong supporter of the president. It doesn't make it a criticism of the president's actions.
But based on the president being part of this meeting being called by Victor Gyadom, there are many implications, because Victor Gyadom was express in his opinion when he said that he wasn't in support of the primaries held in Edo State, and it's a nullity as far as it's concerned. And since the president is saying...
I can't hear...
Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me now?
No, I can't hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's better now.
It's better now. I said, since you say you're supporting the president, there are implications to that. Victor Gyadom said he's against the primaries held in Edo State, where Izeyam emerged. So obviously, if Victor Gyadom is upheld, that means the primaries that brought Izeyam is in doubt. And there's just a deadline on the 27th. And in that video, you were accused of conniving with Governor Wike. I want you to talk around that. You know, what's your own reaction to that? You know, you were accused of conniving with Governor Wike to scuttle the political legacy of Rotimi Amechi. And thirdly, isn't it right to report to the police about threats to your life? I mean, rather than just saying, oh, this is happening, Governor Amechi should pull out this. Isn't it right?
Sorry, the audio is not too good, but I don't know if you're hearing me. I will go ahead and respond to what I heard. First is to say that you yourself have said that the party has just 2 or 3 days to resolve the issues around the Edo primaries. And as you and I know, the courts cannot resolve these issues in 2 or 3 days. You saw, I gave the example of what the opposition party did in resolving their own issue and moving forward. And I think that the question you're asking buttresses my argument that what we require is a political solution to the challenges facing the party at this point. The president is not a court. He is not a court. So the legal challenges will only play out in the courts. And those legal challenges would need time to play out, and we simply do not have that time. So those advocating for more litigation, I don't think will be doing the party a favor or doing the president himself a favor. So I still stand by my position and my own view and advice that the best thing for the party to do at this point is to look for political solutions that will enable the party to move forward in a united fashion and manner so that we can face our opponents squarely on the field. As to the issue of accusing me of conniving with Governor Wike, that has always been the mantra of our opponents. Now, in the National Party Secretariat now, we have problems. And two factions have emerged, people have gone to court and all that. No, how come nobody has accused those people of conniving with Governor Wike? How come Wike is not involved in that particular one? Why is it that if we have a disagreement in Rivers State, which is clearly political in nature within the party, and people stand up for their rights, they have to be sponsored by somebody else? So I think some of those issues are not just nonsensical, but they are clearly irrational, because you have to be able to support what you say with the facts that are on ground. The foundation of the problems in the APC is known to everybody. People bought forms in the party. The party held a meeting and said they will participate in their congresses. And at the end of the day, somebody came and ordered that they should not be allowed to participate after the party has taken their money. Was that decision taken by Governor Wike? The decision was taken by the leaders of the APC. So let us try as much as possible not to sing the hymns of pre-prepared hymns for anybody. Let us face the facts as they are, because without the truth, we cannot be able to arrive at solutions to some of the problems that we face as a party.
Well, Senator Magnus Abe, as we wrap this up, let me digress a little. Last month, you were appointed to the board of the NNPC, and as one of the board members, and I can see that I can see traces of the oil already on your face. But about the APC, people have been talking about reform.
Sorry, Dr. Abati, I didn't hear anything you said.
Oh, really?
The audio was quite bad.
Okay, I said last month we were appointed to the board of the NNPC, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, by President Buhari. And looking at you for the past few minutes, I can see that, the face is looking fresher than before, oily and happy and all of that.
Yes. Dr. Abati.
Yeah?
Dr. Abati, let me use this opportunity to thank the President for that privilege and that honor, and to say that it should be clear to anybody with any iota of common sense that I will be the last person to be against the President. I will be the last person to be against the President. Everything I'm saying here is just so that the President's government can move forward and deliver on the expectations of Nigerians. That cannot be a criticism of a boss that has given me such great honor and privilege to serve my country. Okay. But I'm worried that looking for legal solutions to what is clearly a political problem may be time-consuming, may be distracting for the polity, and may not help the All Progressives Congress.
Okay, we don't have a problem with that, but I wanted you to comment on the NNPC. People have been calling for a reform of the NNPC. They've been calling for a privatization of the NNPC. Now that you are a board member of the NNPC, what have you seen? What would you like to see? What are your immediate reactions in terms of how to move the NNPC forward?
I think the first thing I would like to say is to commend the corporation for the transparency that has been ushered into the affairs of the NNPC under this present administration. If you remember, Dr. Abati, I was chairman of the Senate Committee on Petroleum Downstream in the last administration. And throughout my time in the Senate, to get to see the audited accounts of the corporation, or to get to see even the projected expenditure profile of the corporation was a challenge. It got to a point where they even went to court. But today, the finances of the NNPC is open to all Nigerians. People can actually see what is going on. That is one. The second thing I would like to say is that I think that the corporation under the present leadership is on the right course. Listening to the GMD at our inaugural board meeting, it was clear that they have a clear pathway to try to improve the fortunes of the corporation for the benefit of its shareholders, which ultimately is the Nigerian people. The Minister of Petroleum is providing very strong leadership for the board, and I believe that with this kind of synergy and the kind of dynamics that are playing out in the industry, we will be able to achieve what a lot of Nigerians desire, which is a more efficient corporation and hopefully greater profits for the shareholders, which is ultimately the Nigerian people.
Thank you, sir. Now I'm taking you back to politics, to Rivers State politics. Igor Aguma has emerged as your chairman via court declaration, and what you were quoted as hoping would be a soothing balm hasn't quite worked out that way. We all were aware that they emerged from Rivers State APC, an Abe faction, an Amechi faction, but that Amechi faction appears to now have split into two camps. Some people take a rather dim view of Aguma. What are the building efforts that you're making with Rivers State APC?
I think that for us to be able to get the party together, we simply have to look for a way to make compromises and work together. I have always been a proponent and an advocate of peace within the party, and I remain that. And part of why I decided to lend my support to the Aguma-led ESCO as pronounced by the court is that I thought that that would be, and I still think that that would be an opportunity for us all to come together, even if we're to have a discussion about what to do and what not to do, which we have not been able to do in years, for the simple reason that some people are under instructions not to meet with others. But like you said, it didn't work out that way. Why? Because Senator Andrew Chendu, who is a loyalist of the Minister of Transportation, called a factional meeting to which, of course, people that are seen as not loyal to the minister were not invited. I wasn't invited. And you can't go to a factional meeting and convene and take a decision that will override what everybody in an open meeting to which we all were invited has taken decisions on. I don't think that those kind of steps would help in bringing peace to the party. I think there is no big challenge facing the APC in Rivers State. What is just needed is for people to calm down and then be able to actually ask themselves what the problems are, you know, because it will surprise you to know that 90% of the party leaders, we're all on talking terms. We talk to each other when those who don't want us to talk to ourselves are not around. We all talk. So what stops us from meeting to discuss the issues of the party? It is that some people are under instructions not to do that. So if those instructions change and we can all come together, I don't really see what anybody will describe as a major problem in the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State. It's just the idea of people to dominate everything, take everything, and show power. And like I have said previously on this particular program, Dr. Abati, you remember when we were discussing Edo, and I warned at that time that if people want 100% of everything, they may end up with 0% of nothing. And even the 100% may turn out to be 100% of nothing. So it is better for people to make compromises in politics, accommodate divergent views, be flexible in your approach to issues so that other people too can find breathing space around you, even where they don't agree with you. I think that is the way to build an effective political machinery that can change the fortunes of the APC in Rivers State. Any other course, as time has shown, will turn out to be fruitless. And killing me will not solve the problem. Burning down Rivers State will not solve the problem. Burning down federal parastatals will not solve the problem. What will solve the problem is open and sincere dialogue where people acknowledge the contributions that we have all made to the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State. People need to remember that in this party, when we went into elections, it was my own senatorial district that produced the best result for the party and remains the strongest base of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State. The facts and records are there. So to tend to do away with people who have contributed because you have a personal disagreement with them in any manner is political. I wouldn't want to use the word suicide, but it is definitely a political miscalculation that needs to be corrected. I think that's where we would need to be.
Right. I've got two questions for you, sir. The first one is, congratulations once again for being on the board of the NNPC. You talked about the delight and the joy you felt for the first time to be able to read you know, the account statement of the NNPC, audited account statement. But the shocking thing is those account statements were scary. Take, for instance, subsidiaries like the Kaduna refinery, loss-making, digging a big hole in the government's pocket of over 60 billion. And that has been the song across board. If this were run as a company, it will show you that these companies are not viable. Any ideas? Dr. Abati talks about restructuring the NNPC, even scrapping the NNPC as it were. Any ideas that you're going to be bringing on board? Because those numbers are scary. Secondly, I'd like to ask you, you kept on saying, Rivers State has gone down. You keep talking about the glowing days of Rufus, Ada George, and the likes. What is wrong? I'm not saying politics now. I'm talking in terms of development. What is wrong in terms of development in the state? What is wrong in terms of unemployment? It's shocking. The last time National Bureau of Statistics released unemployment numbers, Rivers State was second to Akwa Ibom State as the state with the highest unemployment rate. So what is wrong in terms of development in the state?
Well, first, let me correct you. I was not the one, I'm not the one that keeps talking about Rivers State going down. That was not me. I am a very positive person, and I believe in positive action. What I said, and which I continue to say, is that the evidence that things are not the way it should be in the state is clear to all of us, even from the video that you played here. Because in the time of Ada George and Okilo, no Rivers man would have done that and be protected in any way. So those are the things that are bringing the state down. For me, I believe that as a Nigerian citizen, my own attitude and approach to our country and our state is to build and build and build, continue to sacrifice, continue to contribute, continue to do whatever you can to uplift the nation and uplift the state. So yes, I could criticize the state if I have to, but I will not run down the state because that is my state. I would rather do whatever I can to contribute to the development and improvement of Rivers State and Nigeria. That is what is expected of me as a citizen, and that is what I will do. On the scary figures from the NNPC, let me say to Nigerians that these corporations have been losing money for decades, but these figures were never available for you and I to see and be scared. The fact that this government has the honesty and the determination to change course is the reason why these figures can now be public, so that you can see and talk about it and demand for better performance, which is what the NNPC is committed to. This figure, if you check back through the records, you will find that Kaduna Refinery has been losing even money in this manner for years, but nobody talked about it because Nigerians were not told, and they had absolutely no access to know what was happening inside the NNPC. NNPC was like a closed magical box. It was like it has severally been described as the personal ATM of past presidents, And the budget of NNPC sometimes that is spent without reference to the National Assembly was even more than the national budget. But for the first time in the history of this country, these figures are being brought and shared with Nigerians. We now all know what the problem is. The budget of the NNPC is being presented to the National Assembly, and our lawmakers have access to the figures. So transparency is the first sign of a total commitment to improvement. And we must give the president that credit because he is the minister, he is the chairman of the board, and it is under his watch that this kind of thing is now happening in this country. Before now, you wouldn't have known what was happening in Kaduna Refinery. I wouldn't have known. And other citizens would have been in the dark. So I believe that the openness of this administration is the foundation for building a greater future, not just for the NNPC, but for the country as a whole.
Well, Senator Magnus Abe, you represented the Ogoni people, Rivers Southeast. I guess that's the constituency in the National Assembly. And most recently, you had cause to express concern about the Ogoni cleanup. Now, where are we with that? In February, you complained that, look, it was being overtaken by the Nigerian factor. Now, what's the situation with that Ogoni oil spill cleanup?
Well, Dr. Abati, first of all, as events later bore out, the minister also came on national television and before the Federal Executive Council to submit a memo that said pretty much what I said. So at the end of the day, I was vindicated. Let me say clearly that from the outset of the Ogoni cleanup exercise, I had gone public, even before the exercise started, to say that I will not participate in the cleanup, I will not benefit from it in any way or through any proxies or by any underhand means. And I can challenge anybody. In fact, if I was, when I spoke up, the high prep, when they tried to criticize me, would have said, this is what I wanted or what I was doing, which made me to say what I said. But clearly, my motive and my concern is that it would be unfair to my people if I'm alive and $1 billion is spent in Ogoni land and the people have nothing to show for it and there is no lasting legacy or sign of improvement. It would be a shame for Africa, not just for Ogoni land. So I decided to keep out of it so that I could raise my voice. And if that happens at the end of the day, my people will know that I was not part of it and I will not be party to it. So we will continue to speak up if things do not go well or do not go better. But I want to thank the minister for the bold step he has taken. They are reviewing the entire operation, and hopefully they will come out with a different template that would be able to maximize the benefits and the expectations of Nigerians. Because at the end of the day, HyPrep is not an Ogoni project. It is a Nigerian project. It is an opportunity for us as Nigerians to show that we have the capacity to do things well, do things right, and do things better. And if it is missed for any reason, it will be a sad loss, not just to the Ogoni people, but I believe to the entire Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Anyway, quickly, Magnus, before you go, the crisis in the APC at the national level, do you have any fears that your party is going to implode and fail? Or you have hope that the matter will be resolved?
Bit of a question, but that's but I guess that you're asking what a lot of people have been asking: is the APC going to implode? The answer is no. I don't see that happening. I think that everybody has a vested interest in stabilizing the polity. I believe that the leaders know enough to step back from the brink when they get to it. And it is my hope and expectation that the president's outing today will set a new tone for reconciliation and progress within the party. And let me use this opportunity to urge all leaders and members of the All Progressives Congress to give the president a chance, and let's see the extent to which his intervention will be able to bring the sparing forces together.
Well, thank you very much, Senator Magnus Abe, for joining us this morning on The Morning Show.